he's an interesting guy, man, and you know, he believes it. So, Kyrie, the Earth is flat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So, whatever.
That's news.
That's news. Here we go.
You were a trending topic on Twitter today. Do you know?
I just found that out.
What's your thoughts on that? I mean, it's an interesting.
I think people should do their own research, man. And then you know, hopefully they'll either back my belief or they'll kind of throw it in the water. I think it's interesting for people to find out.
You've seen pictures of the planet, though, right? Like it's a circle. So
I've seen a lot of things that that my educational system has said that was real and turned out to be completely fake. So I mean, I don't mind going against the grain in terms of my thoughts and whatever.
Draymond, are you most?
I don't know. I haven't done enough research, but
I know
it may be flat.
I mean, I know you spent time with him this summer. Did he say anything else crazy?
Yeah, he says a lot of. I wouldn't necessarily say crazy though.
I mean, I'll tell him crazy.
It's just his opinion. It's hard to call someone's opinions crazy. That's what he thinks.
For the most part, yes, but this one, we've got pictures.
But who's to say that picture is telling the truth?
I guess NASA.
Yeah, but I can make a round picture with my iPhone today on the panoramic camera and make it like look around. So I don't know. I'm not saying I think it's flat or around. I don't know, but it could be.
Tim Bundes from the Washington Post. Obviously, there's a big jump in the cap this past summer, and there's been a lot of reporting about different levels of increases over the next few years. At some points, it's said it's going to go flat. Other times, it seems like it's going to rise a significant amount. Just curious, now you've had some time to analyze the data. Do you have any idea how you think it is going to rise over the next few years? And also, I was curious if you had any opinion on the surprising debate this weekend about whether the Earth is flat or not.
I'm not sure which is the hard question. But
the big news is that around a very nearby cold small star, we found 7 rocky Earth-sized planets, all of which could potentially have liquid water.
For me, it's mind-blowing. The first time I saw what the system had in it, I just was like, you gotta be kidding me. And then I looked at the data myself, I'm like, yeah, there they all are. It's just, I would have never predicted this. It's beyond, you know, anything I could have ever dreamt of.
I felt super excited, amazed by the existence. The very existence of the system was kind of shock.
If you were standing on one of these planets, you'd actually see a lot of them sort of in the sky, whipping by on these very short orbital periods.
It is an excellent, fantastic discovery.
Ain't no curvature. As catchy as it is informative, everything you kids learned in science class is a crock of baloney. That rap god is not alone. There are tons of flat earthers out there, including A-list celebrity Tila Tequila and the 7th best guard in the NBA, Kyrie Irving.
You've seen pictures of the planet, though, right? Like it's a circle. So
I've seen a lot of things that that my educational system has said that was real and turned out to be completely fake. So, I mean, I don't mind going against the grain in terms of my thoughts.
What a dumb motherfucker! sucker. If I lived in Cleveland, I'd want to believe the world is flat too, just so I'd have something to walk off of. You're still not convinced? Maybe this expert will sway you.
A plane flying at an altitude even to the Earth's surface would have to keep pointing its nose down. This doesn't happen during flights.
Looks to scale to me. It's also worth noting that jet fuel can't melt steel beams. Save it for another day. Normally, I like to keep my personal beliefs deep in the closet, but I've been outed. This conspiracy theorist has finally followed the trail of flat earth breadcrumbs I've been dropping. Took you idiots long enough.
Let's take a listen here what Daniel Tosh says during a show.
But I'm a straight shooter. And to prove it, we're going to have our own town hall debate. Let's go to the audience for our first question.
Now, again, understanding how TV works, they're not going to just pull some random guy out of the audience and ask a question. Everything is scripted, including this guy right here who asked the specific question about NASA. Take a listen.
How do you feel about increasing funding for the space program?
Now, take a listen very carefully to what is said here. It's all about the flat Earth and how space does not exist. Again, it's all about mockery.
I don't believe space exists.
Now, what does this remind you of? I'm going to play this clip I played many times before with the Red Hot Chili Peppers song, Californication.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
This is how they do it.
That's right. I believe the Earth is flat. Flat as a board. Me and Ketis. I have my own theories to back it up. First of all, globes are round, but maps are flat. Maps have been around a lot longer than globes. Despite what big round Earth money and their anti-flat Earth agenda want you to believe, Antarctica is a wall of ice that NASA guards so people do not climb it and fall off. Besides, if the Earth is round and spinning, then when I jump in the air, I should not land in the same place. But I do, because it's flat. Boom, you busted. Case closed.
And then a couple months later, another one of my students said, "Hey man, you ever look into flat Earth?" And I said, I looked over him, and I was like angry, and all of a sudden I just wanted to debunk him. I go, that's the dumbest thing ever. And he said, "Hey, listen, man, I got a master's in engineering. Look into it. You do the math, you do the science." And I'm like, dude, I'm no scientist, but I could prove that the world is round in 1 minute. So we're texting each other back and forth. I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Well, what was it about the theory? What was it about the theory that just got you? Where you're like,
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The Earth is flat.
Yeah.
And the sun is 3,000 miles away.
But did you debunk him or did he
No, I
hit
went
you?
home. No, I went home. And I go, I'm just going to find a picture. It's really simple. All these people that are trying
It's not really simple. Okay, it's not really simple.
Yeah, no, it's simple.
It's not.
I'm going to go, there's got to be tens of thousands of pictures of Earth from space. I don't need any science. I don't need an engineering degree. I don't need how to put numbers together and all this stuff. I'm going to show you pictures, many pictures, and I'm going to text them to you, show you pictures of Earth from space. So you go to Google and you'll, pictures of Earth from space. And you look at them, and obviously, like right away, I thought, these are all CGI cartoons. There should be tens of thousands of real, actual pictures. So then I started looking into it, and then I thought, and these pictures are coming from the NASA website, nasa.gov. And I'm like, NASA is in charge of space information?
Now, I found this pretty interesting on Twitter with Elon Musk and his account when asked, is there any reason that most of the landings appear to have been at night so far? And Elon Musk states, it's much easier to do the CGI that way. I mean, this is complete mockery once again. This is how they love to mock. Like I demonstrated in a previous video, which I'll play just for reference once again, talking about, let me just go to this one scene here where he talks about what I'm really trying to achieve here is to make Mars seem possible. What do you mean seem possible? I mean, make it a reality, not seem. Seem is like you're trying to fake something, of course.
Shaquille O'Neal is apparently a flat earther. When asked on his podcast, The Big Podcast with Shaq, about Kyrie Irving's recent comments that the earth is flat, the former NBA big man said, quote, "It's true. The earth is flat." O'Neal says there are 3 ways the human mind is manipulated into believing things: what you read, what you see, and what you hear. He references the elementary history lesson of Christopher Columbus discovering America, before steering off course to how Columbus didn't actually discover a new land. Because fair-skinned people with long hair and peace pipes were already there. The reasoning behind O'Neal's Earth is flat claim: he drives from Florida to California all the time, and that he doesn't go up and down at a 360-degree angle because it's flat. During his rant, he posed the question, have you looked at all the buildings outside? While rejecting the idea that China is under us, in which he says it's not. Shaq joins a growing list of apparent NBA flat earthers.
That's the ones you got to live with.
This is true.
You know, some people like it, some people don't, but, you know, we'll see where it takes us.
What did you make of the Kyrie stuff?
I don't, it's true. The
What?
The earth is flat.
Shaq, what are you talking about?
The earth is flat.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No,
listen,
it's not.
There's 3 ways to manipulate the mind: what you read, what you see, and what you hear.
Okay. Conspiracies.
In school, first thing they teach us is, oh, Columbus discovered America. But when he got there, it was some fair-skinned people with the long hair smoking out of peace pipes. So what does that tell you? Columbus didn't discover America.
He found where some other people already lived.
I drive from coast to coast, and this is flat to me. I'm just saying.
You, I know you've been doing shows here in LA since you've been here, and one of the guys who works here said you were doing a show, and LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers showed up for the show. Did you know they were coming?
Yeah, I knew.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I went to the game earlier.
I see.
And then, but I didn't, you know, they say, hey, we'll come by the show. But, they, you know, then 8-foot dudes start walking in the door.
Are they still in uniform, or do they shower and change beforehand?
Yeah, it was dope, though, man. LeBron got on stage with me and did a few comedy bits. He was a funny dude.
He did comedy bits on his own, or you made fun of him?
I made some assists.
Kyrie Irving, who plays for the Cavaliers, he recently said that he believes the world is flat. Is that a subject that you covered with him? Were you aware of that?
I wouldn't even know how to broach that topic. Word, is that what you think? He's like, what do you say?
I don't know. I guess maybe you just kind of, I guess if you feel it, it won't really make any kind of a difference.
I don't understand the philosophy behind the flat earth theory.
Why? Why do you say that?
I just don't understand. First of all, what difference does it make? Could be flat, could not be flat. There could be 12 continents. How would you know?
That's a matter of how we draw it up.
Expound on their theories as to why it's impossible to get men on the moon, and even more impossible to get them off the moon and return them to safety to the Earth. We've had people pick apart the videos of the lunar landings. For example, the slow motion technique that's used. If you speed the video up 50%, they are now in the physical realm of Earth. It looks exactly the same as someone jumping around on Earth. Now, again, I know there's gravitational differences, but here's what's interesting. If you look at the gravity, if the gravity is less on the moon, why do they move slower? Wouldn't you be able to move faster because your muscles are 50% more effective towards the low gravity?
Yes.
That's interesting. Okay, but that's neither here nor there. Because I don't know, there are physical properties on other planets and stuff which are immeasurable. I get that, but here's something that I'm going to tell you as a video guy. Here's why I believe that the lunar landing was faked. Because there is no way you can have a power source that strong at that time in history, and there's no way you could transmit that video signal all the way to Earth. Absolutely 100% not. Let me tell you something. I have just on my, if I have a handheld video camera and I want, and let's say I'm shooting a scene and the producer wants to see what I'm shooting. So they have a transmitter in their hand and they have a battery on my camera. The battery that I have is about the size of a brick. It's more square, but it's about the same mass as a brick. And it only lasts for maybe an hour and a half. And that signal only goes a couple hundred feet. Now you're going to tell me that on that teeny little spaceship, with that teeny little camera, they're going to have enough power to transmit a full color video signal all the way down to Earth.
Hold on, let me ask you this. No, let me ask you. I'm going to let you finish. I'm going to let you finish. Do you actually know what the definition of fake news is? What we're doing right now?
It's the motherfucking Eagle Double G. Snoop Dogg. You know what happened with the D.R.E.
Oh, Dinah. It's just a rabbit with a waistcoat and a watch.
Oh, my fearing whiskies. I'm late.
Now, this is curious. What could a rabbit possibly be late for? Please, sir!
Oh, I'm overdue. I'm really in a stew. No time to say goodbye. Hello, I'm late.
My, what a peculiar place to have a party. You know, Dinah, we really shouldn't be doing this. After all, we haven't been invited, and curiosity often leads to trouble. Goodbye, Dinah. Goodbye. What if I should fall right through the center of Earth and come out the other side where people walk upside down? Oh, but that's silly. Nobody... Oh! Oh, Mr. Rabbit, wait!
And a lot of that fear comes from the fact that we've been programmed to believe that we're the only sentient beings on the planet. On the plane. Some people ask me, you know, if the Earth is flat, man, like, are the other planets flat? Are the stars flat too? You can't hold on to old, obsolete beliefs that you've been taught. Like, everything that you've been taught is a lie. Airplanes. That song was written and produced before I ever got a hold of it. It was actually intended for Lupe. Y'all gotta understand how this shit work in this industry. Like, this shit is all set up.
I'm sorry, Jay. I'm sorry.
I could see how that would affect your Christmas.
I made that whole thing up.
What?
I'm sorry. I guess I just wanted to seem interesting. I guess there's a real danger of that on this show.
There's a pressure.
Well, yeah, yes, people come out and they've run out of anecdotes, you know, and they just start making stuff up.
Yeah.
Like that Neil Armstrong guy. Have you seen him on the talk shows?
Neil Armstrong, you mean the first man to walk on the moon?
Talk about a fish story.
Yeah.
Man, and they're buying it.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, thanks for coming down. Just finishing up casting the Sandy Griffith Show thing. Okay. Wait, hang on a second. You guys finally making that movie? I've been reading about it for like 40 years. Well, it's not a done deal yet, but I want to talk about you. Yeah. Hey, let's go inside the LIM. You want to? Wow, is this the one that landed on the moon? On a soundstage. Oh, right, from Apollo 13. No, 1969. I'll tell you about it inside the LIM. It's soundproof in there. And it's a national secret. So, NASA did go to the moon in 71. That one was real. But in 69, they weren't ready. So, they faked the whole thing on the soundstage of Gentle Ben.
through your career and your writing and your acting, you've inspired so many people to enter the sciences. How do you balance science with science fiction?
They're both the same. The mystery of science fiction is what I'm talking about. Science and science fiction are essentially the same.
Thank you very much.
How do you prove a black hole? How do you know those gravitational waves proved the collision of two black holes?
Somehow, eventually, they are able to observe phenomena.
No, they can't observe. It's too far away. It's too theoretical. How do we know what they're saying is true? You know what it really is? It's all science fiction.
Science and science fiction are essentially the same.
Thank you very much.
Final frontier.
Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement.
With a gentleman from Belcom, and we were discussing the lie. Everything he was telling me was different from what we were being told was the truth. And at one point I asked him, I said, man, you guys, you lied about a lot, didn't you? And instantly he said, no, we didn't lie about certain things, we lied about everything. I really don't think people realize how deep the lie goes.
You look like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
See the hair? I'll talk to him. I'll tell him different stuff. He don't care. You tell him the Earth's flat. He don't care. Tell him space don't exist. He don't care. You know, he just only cares about MMA.
So hey guys, Stinky Cash here. And I just want to update you real quick about what's going on in the mainstream. There's this B-list celebrity. I think she's some kind of a singer. Her name is Tila Tequila. I've really never heard of her before. But she's been going on social media. She's been going on Twitter and commenting all sorts of things about the flat earth. As you see this tweet from January 7th, I'm never going to get over this. Hashtag flat earth. Another tweet on the 7th. If the earth was a spinning globe, then how come airplanes can still land without crashing? Because the face of the earth is flat, not a globe. Okay, she keeps going on and on. If the earth was a spinning globe and the sun is supposedly 150 million light years away, then how come the sun rays beam straight down? Hashtag flat earth. Now, they don't even claim that the sun is 150 million light years away. They only claim that it's 93 million miles away. So they've got Tila Tequila mixing in some false facts to make herself look stupid so that they could easily debunk her.
A group of social criminals, these people in the space program, nassholes I call them. In case you haven't heard, the latest disaster for the rest of the universe is that the United States is going to go to Mars, okay? Oh yeah, we're going to go to Mars. And then, of course, we're going to colonize deep space.
The bit is about that we are on a rock flying through the universe, which is the most spectacular thing anybody could ever possibly imagine, and yet nobody brings it up ever. People talk about crazy, boring, mundane things when we are on a rock flying through space, and that never comes up. And that above you is the most spectacular thing you could ever look at ever, and yet people take these huge trips to go see the Grand Canyon, and they're like stare like, oh my God, it's amazing, you have to see it. And, you know, it changes your life. And I'm like, how about up there? Like, look at all that.
Speaking of flying through space, you don't think the moon landing is real?
No, I don't. No. Do you?
Yeah.
Why do you think the moon landing is real? Why don't you tell me why?
I saw it on television.
Oh, you're a genius. Oh, beep that. Hit that.
We'll bleep it. We'll bleep it. No, it's okay. We got
That's genius. You saw it on TV? That's awesome. I'm going to show you some CGI. I'm going to show you King Kong. I saw that on TV, too. There's an 80-foot gorilla. He's running around kidnapping white chicks. You should check it out. 1972 was the last time a human being has been through the Van Allen radiation belt. 1972. That's the last time. There's been only 7 trips ever that human beings have ever gone past 400 miles. Every single space station mission, every space shuttle, every satellite, all of those are inside the protective Van Allen radiation belts, which start at 1,000 miles. They go from 1,000 miles to, depending on who you ask, if you ask NASA, 24,000 miles. If you ask James Van Allen, the guy who discovered it, it's 67,000 miles of intense radiation that's in a gigantic donut band that covers around the Earth. Now, even if you got outside of that band, you have to deal with solar cycles. There's the apex of a 20-year solar cycle was between 1969 and 1972. All the time when these guys are making those missions. Any one of those guys out there in those tiny little aluminum shielded crafts would have been killed instantly during any solar flare.
Why fake it?
Thank you, Carl. Why not fake it?
You should open with that.
If you look at any of the footage online, it looks ridiculous. It looks stupid. If you look at the videos, it looks ridiculous and dumb. You know why? Because in 1969, nobody anticipated that we were going to have VCRs and the internet. We were going to be able to watch that. They wanted to win the Cold War. The Soviet Union's had over 10 firsts in space. First man in space, first woman in space, first they had everything. First dog in space. They had first satellite. They were so much more advanced than the Americans were. But the Americans were more advanced in trickery, and that's what they did. They figured out a way to fake it. That's why when Neil Armstrong got back, first of all, he went insane. They went into a deep depression. So did Buzz Aldrin. He became a huge alcoholic. He gave no interviews. Neil Armstrong still to this day will not give interviews. He gave one speech that he gave at the 25th anniversary.
Return. On the 25th anniversary of the event in 1994, Neil Armstrong made a rare public appearance and held back tears as he spoke these brief cryptic remarks before the next generation of taxpayers as they toured the White House.
Today we have with us a group of students among America's best. To you we say, we have only completed a beginning. We leave you much that is undone. There are great ideas undiscovered, breakthroughs available to those who can remove one of truth's protective layers.
Of the moon landing, and this is what he said in front of America's best honor students. He said, "We have here amongst us America's best and brightest," and the quote was, "You will achieve many great things if you could peel away one of truth's hidden layers." That's a speech this guy gives standing in front of the top honor students of the country. Not, "I went to the moon." He doesn't say that. He gives this cryptic speech.
At this time, I'd like to introduce the Apollo 11 crew, astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, Edwin Aldrin. Neil?
It was our pleasure to have participated in one great adventure. It's an adventure that took place not just in the month of July, but rather one that took place in the last decade. We all here and the people listening in today had the opportunity to share that adventure over its developing and unfolding in the past months and years. It's our privilege today to share with you some of the details of that final month of July that was certainly the highlight for the three of us of that decade.
It was John F. Kennedy who in 1961 challenged the nation to put a man on the moon before the end of the decade. And it was July 20th, 1969, that the incredible goal of landing on the lunar surface was finally realized.
Sequence starts. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a
July 16, 1969, 9:32 a.m. Apollo 11 thundered from the pad at the Kennedy Space Center. The mission went without a hitch, and 4 days later, the lunar module known as Eagle separated from the command module and initiated a powered descent to the moon. With almost 1 billion people watching around the world, Neil Armstrong stepped to the surface.
Okay, engine stop.
From the Air and Space Museum in Washington, D.C., our pleasure to welcome the crew of Apollo 11, Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Mike Collins. Gentlemen, good morning all.
Good morning, Brian.
In 20 years, have you grown kind of weary of being asked about this? What's the story?
Oh, I don't think so. We really enjoy remembering those very special days, and actually not too many days come up when we get the chance to reflect on it.
Neil, you are today, by all accounts, a very private man who kind of shuns publicity. Is that a result of the glare of your achievement?
No, I don't really shun publicity, but I'm not naturally attracted to it, so I probably don't volunteer for as many jobs as some of the others.
Buzz Aldrin, Mike Collins, does it seem like yesterday? Does it seem like 20 years ago, or does it seem even more distant than that?
Well, I've been thinking a good bit about it this last year while I've been writing a book, but it still does seem like a good while back. I'm the first one that's going to reach 60 in this group, and it's going to happen during 1990.
Mike Collins, but for today, how often are you reminded of your achievement?
Well, if I go out back and look up in the sky and see the moon, either I can remember where I was 20 years ago, or I can pretend I've never been there, and it works for me either way.
Now, Bill Clinton, in page 100, I think it's 156 of his book, My Life, he gives this story about how when he was a kid, he was working with this carpenter. And this carpenter said, you know, I don't believe man landed on the moon. It was 3 months after the moon landing. And he said, I thought that guy was ridiculous. He said, you know what? I don't believe anything those TV fellows show you. He said, after 8 years in the White House, I thought maybe that guy was ahead of his time.
Wow.
This is in Bill Clinton's autobiography.
Wow.
This is in his book. There's no way people went on the moon. There's no way.
By the way,
it's impossible today. China wants to go back to the moon. They don't even have a clue how to do it. They're going to try to get there in 2020. America thinks we could possibly go back in 2017. All of the hard data, the telemetry data, 14,000 reels is missing. No one can find it. What the telemetry data is, that's the binary data, the ones and the zeros that show the distance between the command module and the Earth during every step of the way, on the way to the moon and back, which you can't fake. They don't have that. They can't find it, which you would think would be in a locked golden vault in the Smithsonian.